Elden Ring is a game that does not abide by the laws of gravity. If you want to know why there is a very realistic crater in the ground, I'm not gonna tell you. Go watch part 2. I descend this hole in which the enemies entirely consist of white people. I know it is very scary. Whilst running for my life, I find a boss room. When I enter, I discover that the boss inside is me. And no, that's not a good thing. This boss copies your entire inventory. It uses your weapons, armor, and items, and there is one big problem with that. I hate myself. My weapon has an incredibly fast ranged attack that does a lot of damage. That means that he can use it too. It's only fair when I get to cheat. This shouldn't be allowed. Thankfully, it only copies the gear that you had at the beginning of the fight. So, if I have no weapons when entering the boss room, the Mimic tier is more defenseless than your little sister who is playing in the front yard. I probably shouldn't have said that. After serving a 20-year sentence, I run across this bridge which leads to a forest. There's a puzzle here where you have to light 8 fires, but it is completely optional and quite frankly not funny, so I'm just gonna skip all of this and go straight to the city of Nokron. This section is quite literally 2 minutes long. There are only 2 different kinds of enemies in Nokron: giant balls and silver tears. Silver tears may look like humans, but I assure you, just like the accusations, they are fake. What do you mean that doesn't help my case? Hey Ronnie, I got the weapon that you asked for. It was a lot easier than I thought.
Oh, was it too easy? I'm sorry. I'll make sure to make it much more painful from here.
I wasn't complaining, I was just...
Here's a statue.
What do I do with it?
Bye.
After consulting Google, I find that this statue is used in the Carrion Study Hall in Eastern Liurnia. When you place it on this pedestal, it turns everything in the building upside down. Don't ask, it's not supposed to make sense. Here we are invaded by Preceptor Miriam. Don't even try to fight him, it's not worth it. After some very fun elevator gameplay, we get to the top? I don't even know, of the area, which leads to a bridge and another tower. Fortunately, Miriam kinda gave up on killing me, so there's nothing stopping me from finding Ronnie's corpse. You know what, I don't feel like doing this quest line anymore.
Hey you, could you do a favor for me?
Are you even gonna try to make a good transition?
Come on, this is important. You're the only person who can do this.
I'm kinda trying to kill God right now, so I don't really have time for this.
I may not be able to help you kill God, but there is one thing I can give you.
And what is that?
+5 dexterity.
What do I have to do?
A girl named Millicent is infected with a terrible disease known as scarlet rot. The only way to cure it is to use the unalloyed golden needle
which is held by a really strong guy which you need me to kill.
Yeah, pretty much.
Commander O'Neill is already dead. That was faster than I thought.
Don't come any closer, you'll die.
Ronnie?
Who's Ronnie?
You are.
No, I'm not. I'm Millicent.
Well, you sound a lot like Ronnie.
Nuh-uh.
The f*** you mean nuh-uh? Whatever, I have the cure.
Wait, what?
Now that we're done with that, I can finally progress to the Altus Plateau, the next major area of the game. There I will find the city of Landel, which contains the giant tree, which is probably important for some reason. To get up there, we need to use the Grand Lift of Dectus, which requires the 2 halves of the Dectus Medallion, which we already got back in part 1. The lift brings us to the Altus Plateau. It's so serene, so beautiful. It actually reminds me of this famous quote. There is concrete below me, and the sky above so blue. I've never seen concrete out in the wild before. Nature really is beautiful. Fantastic imagery, truly inspirational.
Hey, I can use a hand over here.
Oh god, not you again. Sure, how did I not notice that before?
So the scarlet rot kind of took away my arm. Can you get a new one for me?
Oh, you were being literal. I really don't feel like doing this right now. The Shaded Castle is certainly one of the levels of all time. As usual, I'm underleveled, but I don't need to beat this dungeon. All I need is the Valkyrie's prosthetic, which is about a minute away from the entrance. There's just one small problem. I completely forgot where it was. I spent about 30 minutes aimlessly running around before I eventually gave up and watched a tutorial on YouTube.
Thank you. I'll ever repay you.
I'm fine, actually.
I know. If you're ever struggling in battle, I'll be there to help.
What have I gotten myself into? Now that we're done for real this time, I go along the main path in which there are a notable amount of very high-level enemies. Hopefully that's not a bad omen or something. Yeah, I don't know about this one. The only way to get into Landel is by killing the Draconic Tree Sentinel, but I decided to take the scenic route through Mount Gelmir, I'm so generous to provide my loyal and dedicated fans with extra content. There are no other reasons why I would not fight this boss right now. Summon Millicent. Okay, I guess she might help. Where are you going? Well, I guess I'm doing this one on my own. Summoning allies increases the boss's health by 50%, so Millicent quite literally made the game harder for me.
That was a great battle. I don't mean to boast, but I feel like I was doing pretty good there.
Right.
Hey, it's fine. You didn't do terribly.
I can't do this anymore. When I made it to Mount Gelmir, I discovered something incredible. Elden Ring has managed to make a form of gameplay that is even more fun and engaging than elevators. That's right, I have to hold down a direction now. Near the end of this very exciting section, I find the Scavenger's Curve Sword. Pairing this with a scimitar gives you a build with... Unfortunately, this sacrifices most of your actual damage, and this boss happens to be one of the few bosses with complete immunity to bleed. I really didn't think this through. I run past the boss and all of the enemies until I finally reach the Volcano Manor.
Greetings, Tarnish.
Millicent?
Who is Millicent?
I don't know if it's just me, but every single female that I have seen since I came here has had the same exact voice.
That's weird. I have no idea what you're talking about. And by the way,
This is a cult.
so you work for me now.
Once I officially join the manor, I get a letter telling me to invade another Tarnished in Limgrave. Turns out I still don't know how to use this weapon. While killing another Tarnished may be a cardinal sin, at least I get a sick armor set out of it. Unfortunately, I can't get to Rykard by just committing cardinal sins. When I roll into this random wall, I find a series of tunnels that are full of very normal-sized slugs. These tunnels lead me to whatever this is. This is the hot level. I can tell because I watched the forecast. Hey, it's Pete Dumkus with the weather. I don't know what you guys were expecting. The enemies consist of bipedal lizards, whatever these are, and my followers on TikTok. The boss isn't much better. The rest of the dungeon is straightforward. All you have to do is avoid getting hit. The end of the dungeon is quite literally a portal that brings you straight to the boss, which I find kinda lame, but it doesn't really matter. When you enter the boss room, you immediately notice two things: the enormous size and the free weapon that the game gives you. So, where's the boss? Oh, what the... There is no sugarcoating it. I am literally fighting Satan right now. Since some of the people in my comment section will be meeting him in the next 24 hours, I'll give you a rundown. Since the boss is the size of Hudson's grandmother, the room that you fight him in is the size of a small galaxy. But right next to the entrance, there just happens to be a weapon that is designed specifically to kill him. It's almost like he wants to get killed. If you've played Elden Ring before, you might have noticed that I skipped Phase 2. I don't know why, but I don't have the footage. I press the record button every time I beat Phase 1, but I guess it didn't work for some reason. You're not really missing out on much, it's just Phase 1, but you're running away from exploding skulls the whole time. Therefore, Phase 2 is not canon. It didn't happen. And with that, I'll see you in another 4 months.